Which F1 driver would be the hottest if they were a woman?
Oh, no. I don't want to do that.
No. Welcome to the Formation Yap podcast. I'm Cameron Cook with my two buds, JD Underwood and Jordan Lennox. 5 lights out and away we go. So, quick recap of Barcelona. We had a Lewis Hamilton P1.
About time, man. Well deserved. Well deserved.
He's been due for it.
Ferrari's first win. Big deal.
With Lewis Hamilton's first win with the Tifosi behind his back.
That's right. That's right. Big deal for them. Big deal for Lewis. Mercedes, man. We had another DNF.
And I guess we should talk about that. Like, when do we get concerned?
Because we've been teasing it, but we need to talk about it.
Well, I mean, you talk about some of these teams that aren't just Mercedes, you know, they're the teams that buy their engines from Mercedes.
Yeah.
The McLarens, the Alpines, the Williams, right?
Let's quickly talk about that before we just throw people for a loop. So teams have the option of building their own power unit or purchasing a power unit from one of the larger teams that's historically made good power units.
Right.
So you have, who all's using Mercedes?
Mercedes, of course, and then McLaren, Alpine, Williams, and
it's 4.
That's it.
And then for Ferrari, you have Ferrari and Haas.
And Cadillac.
And Cadillac. That's right. Okay, so
now that being said, Cadillac, again, new team if you're new to the sport. Cadillac is a new team this year. They have already committed in the next 2 years to building their own power unit. With the rule changes that are coming in effect, maybe that changes. I don't think it will, but Cadillac will be producing an American-made power unit for Formula One. But for the time being, they are buying their units from Ferrari.
Yeah.
But Ferrari is not what we're talking about here. The topic is Mercedes power units, and when do we get concerned? Because yeah, it's one thing for McLaren has a failure, double DNS, and okay, we'll get to it when we get to it. But you're talking about the works team, the Mercedes, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, both now have had DNFs because of the battery from P1 and from P2. When does this get to be a concern? And I just want to bring up the fact that McLaren is, you know, also world champions last year and constructors and driver with Lando Norris.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Lando is on his last parts on
gone through 2 engines already,
in more than one aspect. Oscar's not far behind. Alpine has ironically been the saving grace of these power units, but Williams has had troubles. Mercedes had troubles. When is this a concern? Because we just hit 25% of the season, and we're looking at, you know, some grid penalties coming up soon for McLaren if they have to change parts. And not just a couple positions, significant grid penalties in the start of the race. Mercedes has been strong, but you know, I feel like that's a veil over this power unit because reliability is a concern right now for me and everyone else.
Right.
I think especially for the next 5 races, it's a huge concern because once we get to the summer break, the teams will have time to adjust, and I'm sure the McLarens of the world and the Williams of the world, they will be able to go back to Mercedes and make some adjustments. Of course, Mercedes is going to make adjustments, but for the next group of European races, it's an obvious concern. I mean, you've lost your way out of 2 P1, P2 finishes. I mean, George was flying on that track, and then all of a sudden we see him go straight across the grass, and we're thinking, man, George made a mistake.
He missed the corner.
He missed the corner. No, and that's what JD said.
He missed the gas pedal. You know, there's no power under that car. You know.
Yeah. And I did. I mean, he acted out, and you know, people were upset about it. But I have to say, like, if that was me, I'd have been irritated too.
Yeah. I mean, and that just brings us to George Russell's season. You know, the whole Kimi Antonelli breathing down his neck. You know, George had spent 3 seasons for Williams and was waiting for his seat at Mercedes. And when he finally got a seat, he lived in Lewis Hamilton's shadow for a year or 2, and then finally it's his time. It's George Russell's time.
Vegas,
and
now
we have Kimi that's hit the scene, and I want to talk about that for a second. The likability complex of Kimi Antonelli versus George Russell. I will just say before you get into it, I think Kimi is, Drive to Survive, the TV show. It has really painted Kimi in this innocent little likable kid. I love him to death. My family has an Italian heritage, and of course I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. Now, that being said, I have followed him through F2, and I think Kimi is a talent. I've known he was a talent. I heard his name plenty of times. And he's doing everything that I expected him to do. And of course, it's way easier to do that other than Ollie Beerman driving a Haas compared to driving a Mercedes. But again, George Russell, we have our own friend circle that we talk about these F1 racers, and screw George is kind of the thing, because he comes off so arrogant. But when you look at his track record, man, it's his time to shine, and he's not, man. He's not. And I just want to talk about that aspect of the likability of Kimi compared to George. And what intrigues me the most is, I think it's the element of where they're at in their career. Kimi has this wonderful position right now.
He's shooting to the moon.
Where, okay, he doesn't finish well. He has a terrible rest of the season, and it's okay, sophomore slump. He's new, he's young, he's 19 years old.
He's got a longer road.
It's only up from here, right? And George is at the point in his career where it's okay, prove it. Prove it. And it really kind of rubbed me the wrong way last week when I love Toto Wolff. You guys know that. Toto's my guy. That's why I'm a Mercedes fan. Love Kimi.
Yeah.
Toto is why I am a Mercedes fan. I respect the man, love what he's done with the program. But his interview, they ask him about the race, and he says, yeah, terrible for Kimi, happy for Lewis. George finished second, man. George was on the podium.
He scored you big points.
And he was not even mentioned, man. Like, what is that? What is that?
It goes to show you the likability between the two.
Well, okay, you say that, but does it go to show you that Mercedes has moved on from George?
I mean, he was over Lewis for how long? He won 6 championships underneath him. So they definitely
Valtteri Bottas was there for a bunch.
But how many did Lewis win under Toto?
Oh, I'm sorry.
6.
I thought you meant with George as a team. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely have a history, but did he even acknowledge George in that interview?
He didn't. Yeah. That's my point.
You have to give Lewis his flowers. I mean,
of course, man. Toto and Lewis, their relationship.
Yeah, they were BFF for a long time, but
right. But I mean, when we're talking about likability, you can't not like Kimi. He is. I describe him as the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
That's a good example.
That's how I describe him.
It's a great comparison.
That's how
and he brings that energy to the team. And I think that Toto is feeding off of that. The rest of the team is feeding off that. And I don't want to call him Uncle George, but he's just. I don't think he brings negative energy. I feel like he's not getting the love that. I mean, the man finished second, and you don't even acknowledge that. Like if this is Fred Vasseur, and Lewis blows up, and Shaw finishes second, you're going to say, yeah, terrible for Lewis. But Shaw did what we needed him to do.
Right.
And you don't hear that from the Mercedes social media page posting their pictures. You don't hear from Toto Wolff, the team principal. And I feel like George is left out to the pasture right now. And again, you guys know,
upon himself, though,
I don't love George Russell. But, man, you can't help but feel for the guy.
I do, man. You look back in the social media, the talk last week was that I think there were like 11 photos that were shared from the race and the post-race, and George was in like one of them.
He was on the podium.
And in that picture, Kimi was also in the picture, and Kimi was in all the rest of them.
It's so incredibly obvious at this point that they are favoring Kimi, and again, we all love Kimi, but like I genuinely feel bad for George. And I hope he gets the win or gets on the podium again, just so that he can get that confidence back and the team's behind him. Because I mean, the worst thing that you see in Formula One is guys get dropped. Like let's at a base level, these guys are human, and that's what we all have to remember.
Let's be real. George Russell is still a talent, and he will not be without of a job next year.
That's
if
true.
Mercedes
That's
drops
That's
him,
fair.
he is going to find a ride. Now, is it going to be at a top 4, your power 4 team? Maybe not. Will he run for Alpine? Will he get a second chance? I would like to hope so, but Pierre Gasly's been trying for years and proving it year in and year out that he deserves it, and he's
Yeah.
still running for Flavio.
Jordan, do you like George? Do you have any feelings on George?
I mean, I don't like him. I all the stuff that y'all said that y'all feel bad for him, has he brought this upon himself from stuff that we haven't seen? We don't know.
Yeah.
I just think he comes off that way. I'm sorry, but
He does. He has that British arrogance.
I would say
and I think that's a big part of it as well. But my opinion, I just don't think he's a likable guy.
No, and part of that, I think you're right. And part of that, for those of you that are watching, you guys are probably mostly from South Louisiana. It's just a completely different culture in the UK. He is so incredibly specifically British. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. Like they have money. They know they have money.
Yeah.
They are the class of society, And these guys grow up with silver spoons in their mouth. Let's be real,
right. I mean, their home track is Silverstone.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So you kind of like have to give a lot of these guys, especially the British guys, like we love to poo-poo on Lando and the other British guys, but that's kind of who they are. Like they're just a little bit snobby.
It's the British arrogance.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
I mean, it's not.
We're
I don't think
undefeated in wars against them, by the way. But anyway,
but I mean, I don't think it's George's fault. Because when Lewis left, I mean, he expected to be that driver one.
Sure.
I'm the Mercedes driver one. And then this kid shows up, and it's a slap. And
I will say last year, I mean, he drove the wheels off that car. Now, this is a brand new car. Yeah. And does it fit Kimi better than George? Possibly. Is this going to be, in time, talked about as the greatest missed timing, like right place, wrong time, wrong place, right time situation? Perhaps with George. Mm-hmm. Last year's car, if they could have competed with the Mercedes, the McLarens or the Red Bulls of the world, perhaps. But he outperformed the Mercedes car last year, I will say that.
Yeah.
But this year, it just seems like Kimi's pace is just so much higher than George's. And it doesn't matter about qualifying. Like
Kimi passed George like without any serious problems in Barcelona before he blew up.
Well, that's my point too. Is that Kimi said on the radio, "I have more pace than him," and I kind of wrote it off as this kid wants to be driver one, but he passed George, and within a lap, he had a second half on him.
That's right.
Like Kimi was going to chase Lewis.
That's right.
He was going to chase Lewis.
Probably not going to win, but
probably not. Probably not. But Lewis would not have won the race by 20 seconds.
Right. He would have cut that lead down.
Yeah,
right.
Better chance.
Like Kimi had pace, and that's been the case every week so far. Is Kimi has pace, and George just can't match it. And I really do feel for George, like you said. But that kind of brings me to what I wanted to talk about here is of the three top teams besides Red Bull, because Max Verstappen is Max Verstappen, of McLaren, of Ferrari, of Mercedes, and they're two drivers apiece. Who do you think can outperform their teammate that is currently in the top positions by the end of the season? Do you think George has it in him to outperform Kimi?
I don't think so. Because, the first quarter of this year, we've seen Kimi's got 5, George got 1. No, I don't think so.
What do you think, Cam?
The competitor in me wants to say that George has a chance and that he's going to find his way, because history would tell us that he will. He is the more experienced driver. He's got nearly a decade under his belt. But I think Kimi's just so far along points-wise, it's going to be so hard for George to catch up.
It will. The Mercedes power units, again, is going to be, I think, what touches on that.
Sure.
But not just that. George has had some terrible luck this year. Look at Monaco. The double pit lane penalties that should have never happened.
Completely not his fault.
Right, right. And that's the tip of the iceberg. Look at the DNF from P1. And now him and Kimi, I do believe in that race, would have taken each other out in Canada. That was going to be a double DNF. So George DNF was the best thing that could have happened.
Probably for the team.
But I do agree. I think that George has the best chance of the three I just mentioned to actually beat his teammate. Do I think he will? No. I think Kimi right now is the hottest thing in F1.
Yeah.
I think Kimi is a commodity that again, end of the season, his contract is up, and Toto Wolff is going to do everything.
He's going to shell out the money.
He will. Sure. Kimi will be racing for Mercedes next year, but his contract is up.
It's up.
So that being said, let's move along to Ferrari. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton. Right now, hot takes. Who is driver one?
I've got to go with Lewis.
Yeah,
he's got the win. I mean, that's the only stat we can put together at this point. I mean, Charles is a damn good driver, but how many DNFs does he have?
I don't necessarily agree. I think that Charles Leclerc just signed a big deal.
Yes.
Right?
They're committed to him,
I mean,
for sure.
They have been. And Charles Leclerc is notorious. His whole career at Ferrari has been overdriving that car. And I think that's what he's doing right now. I think he's overdriving a car that doesn't necessarily need to be overdriven.
Yeah.
I think that
he's
trying too hard. And but that's all he knows, you know. And he is married to the Tifosi. He has always dreamed of driving the red car. And I think that
Ferrari through and through.
He is a Ferrari guy, and they showed that they respect that with that new contract he signed. But
signed early, by the way, because he still had an extra year.
I don't agree with his signing of that contract. I mean, they haven't proven yet that they can win in this car, which I guess last week they have with Lewis, but this car is still brand new this year. There's so many changes in regulations, and Shaw signed to the new regulations that are after the, like, you're talking about a whole new car. So that's a whole different topic. But I will say that he hasn't wrecked 10 of the last 20 races. I mean, he's not having a last good. He's in a slump. He's in a slump.
Sure.
But being said, I think this is a very important race for him coming up.
Yeah.
I think that what he needs to do is, you know, kind of stick his chest out and say that this is my team.
He's got to get on the podium.
Lewis is making changes at Ferrari. Last year, Lewis kind of said, I can't drive this car. And Fred Vasseur said, what do we need to do?
Right. How do we make it better?
And Lewis gave them the feedback. I don't think Shaw's as good at the feedback as Lewis is, because he spent so many years giving it and not having a new car.
That's right.
He's learned to drive what he's given more than Lewis, who says, I can't drive this piece of, you know.
Yeah.
And he makes the changes he needs. So I do think that this is a pivotal season.
You got it. You hit it the first
It's a pivotal season for Ferrari and Charles Leclerc. I think that this year is very important for Lewis. Next year can be driver one with the rate that we're going at. I do think that Shaw needs to at least give the feedback, get the car he wants that suits his driving style, because if it keeps going at this rate, he's going to be driving Lewis's car. And he's going to have to figure out how to drive Lewis's car, because Lewis is hot right now. And Lewis has 6 championships under his belt. So if Fred's going to pick somebody that's going to fight Mercedes this year, right now it's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, I think it boils down to, are we winning now or when we winning long term? You know, around here we have the Saints. And the Saints, for example, to kind of give you a metaphor, the Saints sold out to win with Drew Brees, and they sacrificed all of their draft picks. So essentially, will Ferrari do the same thing? Are they going to sell out on Lewis being number one, or are they going to play the long game now that they committed all that money to Charles? I mean, if I'm making the decision, I still get behind Charles, because he is much younger than Lewis. He's been with the team longer. He is so, I mean, he's the Prince of Monaco. He's the face of Tifosi. And I mean, everything he does is good to them. You know, he's like the little brother that can commit no wrong.
They have a big commitment to him with his contract, so I don't know. We'll see what the year brings, but he definitely needs to start proving himself this year.
Right, and that's what I'm afraid of is the championship with Mercedes. If they have another 2-3 races in a row where they score significant points, Shaw is at the bottom of the grid, or, you know, 8th to 10th, it's going to have to be sorry, Shaw, but Lewis is the guy. He's our only hope at this point.
Yeah.
You know. Now, granted, Shaw didn't lose any points to Kimi last week. Both of them DNF. so he hasn't lost too much. You know, he's at least even the field, right? But that being said, I think that we need to see a result from Shaw because let's be honest, Ferrari would love to have the Mercedes problem. Who's driver number one? The McLaren problem. Who's driver number one? If you hear Tifosi rules, it's a joke and everybody's going to make fun of them. But guess what? Fred would love to hear them. Hear every joke you have because that is a great problem to have. Who's driver one? Because both of them are too good, right? And that's not a problem Ferrari's had since Vettel. That's right. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. Yeah. So again, back to what we said, Kimi and George. I think we were all agreed that Kimi's probably going to outperform George by the end of the year. Yeah. Shaw and Lewis. What do you guys think?
My heart says Shaw, but my head says Lewis. I mean, he's just in the zone right now, guys. Like, if you would have, we were all macking on him hardcore last year. We were making fun of Lewis Hamilton last year. I know you know this, right? I mean, JD and I were talking about all the 21 and 22 seasons about how much we disliked Lewis.
Yeah,
and it was like he got what was coming to him.
Well, it got to a point last year where the beginning of the year I was wallowing in his misery with him. Just how bad does it suck, Lewis, to not have the car? You gave your seat up to a 19-year-old. They kicked Carlos out. He's on the podium in a Williams. And this year, I've gained a new respect and a new love for Lewis.
Yeah. I think he's gained new love and respect for the sport.
I think he hit rock bottom, and the reason that I am pulling for Lewis this year, the reason I respect him so much is he could have easily said, "I'm done, man. This is too. Like, you know what? It ain't fun anymore. I'm done with this." Yeah. But he didn't. He came back this year and he put a smile on his face. He's enjoying himself. He's winning races. The kid that took his seat at Mercedes, he gave up that seat. But he loves Kimi, and it
celebrates with him.
I love to see the respect that he has for the whole grid. You know, him and Max are mortal enemies, and him and Max are chatting it up every time you see him. I haven't seen Lewis in a paddock yet this season without a smile on his face. And at the end of last year, it was misery.
That's right.
It was absolute misery for the guy. It got to the point where I didn't even want to see it anymore. And
cringe.
Yeah. And here he is this year. He's a brand new guy. And I love to see it, honestly. Like, so I don't think that Shaw has anything for Lewis this year, personally. I think that Lewis Hamilton has taken Ferrari and said that this is my team now. And look at me. I am the captain, and I think that the rest of the year you see Lewis Hamilton. Not saying Shaw's gonna just disappear. I think that Shaw will still be there. Ferrari has a strong competitive car, but I think that this year it's Lewis Hamilton, and I think by the end of the season he's going to be the one in the title fight. And I don't think Shaw's name comes up too much when it comes to an actual shot.
Yeah. I think Lewis definitely has a better shot.
He keeps Kim around cursing towels. I mean, it's his game.
The voodoo queen, Kim Kardashian.
What else are we talking about?
Well, McLaren. Oscar and Lando. I will say this year Lando has been driving the wheels off that car. Yeah. Oscar has been providing results, but man, back to what we said about Lewis last year, if I haven't seen a guy on the grid this year that doesn't want to be somewhere, I think it's Oscar Piastri. I mean, he does not seem to be enjoying this year. Yeah. Of course, in Australia, didn't even get to race. And then he followed that up with a DNS. I mean, he didn't even race the first two Grand Prix. I don't think Oscar races for McLaren next year. I think Oscar's on his way out. I think that I don't know if the bridges are burned, if the relationship after the papaya rules last year has just been tarnished to beyond repair, but I think that Oscar Piastri just looks absolutely miserable. Now, granted, he's a guy that doesn't show a lot of emotion, period.
Yeah, to be fair, he talks like this all of the time.
But I do think that he doesn't want to wear that orange jumpsuit anymore.
Yeah.
Who would? Look like a traffic cone.
Carlos Sainz? Carlos Sainz is dying to wear that suit again, man. Are you kidding me?
Pierre's
driving that tugboat Williams every week.
Oh, poor guy. Duracell. Jordan,
Yeah.
what do you have a take on that one?
No, I mean I agree with everything you said. He doesn't seem happy. I think at not any other team, but the majority of the teams, he is a driver one on the majority of the teams.
That's
Right.
fair.
Absolutely.
Right, and I think that I don't know if that really affected him as far as driver one status.
Right.
But when McLaren made it obvious that their pick was Lando
I
Norris,
think Lando
even
winning
when
last year's championship,
I'm saying McLaren made it
and
obvious.
they helped. Yeah. It was clear who they wanted to win that championship.
Right, even when Oscar had the points.
Oscar
lead.
had points.
And that's what I'm getting at. Right. Oscar had the points lead, and they still made it clear Lando was the guy. I think Oscar checked out, and he hasn't checked back in yet.
Yeah.
But he's still talented enough to, podium. but at the same time, I think that he doesn't want to be there. I think has a bright future ahead of him. I just don't think it's in that god-awful orange.
Yeah.
So
he wants to be there to win, and he's not doing it with them. So
I do agree. I
Young
think
ship as well.
if silly season gets into effect, Oscar is going to be one of the most expected moves that we see.
Yeah.
So on that topic, isn't Weber his trainer?
He is.
Does Oscar Piastri end up at Red Bull if something happens with Max?
I think he is the shoe-in.
Is he?
Or does George and Max swap seats?
I don't see it
You don't see
happening. I think that right now, George Russell, it's very detrimental for George to do something. Like, he has the car, he has the seat. And if he can't do it this year, I don't think Red Bull invests. I think that there's guys like Oscar that have got the short end of the stick rather than the Georges of the world.
But Jordan, is my take too hot that there's, hypothetically speaking,
Connections?
There's connections.
No, that's not hot at all. Not hot at all. It's happened in other sports. It can happen in this one. So, yeah,
with
it's not hot at all.
With Weber's connections in Red Bull and something happens with Max, they go off and get a top one. They need a new number one driver. They seek it from the Papaya team.
It could happen, but I also think that not that Red Bull owes anybody anything. Liam Lawson has proven this year that he's not bad, man. I mean, he's doing well.
Yeah,
and he races for the Red Bull Junior, the sugar-free Red Bull team.
Sure.
And he's full of sugar. He's coming hard,
he's
man.
Great on social media, by the way.
I'm not a huge Liam Lawson fan. Didn't like him a lot at first, but what makes him more likable is how much that Visa, Cash App, Red Bull social media page just trifles on him. He gets so frustrated with those guys, and I love to see it. And I've really I've come to learn to like Liam Lawson, come to respect his racecraft. But next topic I would like to ask, while we're on topic of contracts and stuff, let me ask you this: who do you think this year is your biggest underperformer and overperformer?
Oh, okay. Underperformer, I mean, I'd have to go with Aston Martin. Specifically, Fernando, not his fault, car's fault, team's fault, but all the hype was around them early in the year, beginning of the year, and they haven't, I don't think they've even shown up to a race yet. So I would, not his fault, but I would have to say Fernando. And then overperformer, that's a hard one, but honestly, if we're jumping from last year to this year, I mean, is Lewis a crazy say?
No, that's a good take, Jordan.
I would say Lewis being over.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, I will touch on the Aston Martin because, again, that's also my underperformer. I would say that Adrian Newey from Aston's team more than Fernando. I think Nando has done the best he can with that car.
Yeah.
He's still out qualifying Lance. So
partially not Newey's fault though. I mean, he came in late.
I mean, he came in late, but he also, I think the whole organization, like I've heard rumors of the wind tunnel doesn't work right, and like everything that was rushed in this new construction, this new project they have. I don't know. I don't know what's going on specifically, but I will say that Aston Martin is the biggest letdown of the year. Now, my overperformer this year, I will say, is either Pierre or Carlos. Both of them are overdriving their cars. Both of them deserve a better seat.
Definitely.
Is there a seat open? Probably not. But if I could see anything open up and a junior Red Bull guy, a junior McLaren guy from F2 move up the ranks, I would, rather see somebody like Carlos or Pierre take that spot because, man, do they deserve it.
Absolutely.
At honorable mention, I would say Franco Colapinto is doing
Yeah.
great. Checo,
Yeah.
Sergio Perez is driving
Sergio.
the wheels off of that
That's
Cadillac.
right. That's right.
Arvin Lindblad's not doing bad. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that are outperforming their cars. But for my top two, I'd say either Pierre or Carlos. Cam, what do you think about over and underperformers?
So underperforming, it's the Haas American team. I mean, it sucks because you want to see them at the top of the midfield, because what people don't realize, for those of you that never watched F1 before, there's a huge bump in payout purse for finishing in the top 5 or 6 teams. The difference between like the 7th and the 5th team is in the tens millions of dollars.
Right.
And that makes a huge difference specifically for Haas, because they're on such a low budget.
Right.
So they have to, like, they more than anyone else, the Haas team has to stay competitive. They have to finish top 6 in the
They
constructors.
need to perform.
Yes, they literally cannot meet their budget without performing. So to see them nowhere near it,
And they started so strong.
They looked great. I mean, Ollie was
finished
driving
5th,
the wheels off in those first 2 races, but they
Literally.
just
Literally.
I spoke out of turn. This is a fact. But yeah, they don't have it.
That's the thing. It takes money to win, but you got to win to make money. So
That's right.
And you hear these rumors of Esteban's gone, then they have to come out and defend themselves, and team principal and Esteban both come out and say, "Oh well, and we're not, we're going to be here for the end of the year." Why? That doesn't happen if you're performing. Like, you have to look at those kind of things and think about the Haas unit. And Gene Haas is, even back in the Gunter Steiner days, it's been
R.I.P.
he's about to pull the plug. He's
guy.
about to pull the plug, and Toyota came on board this year with Haas, and I had such high expectations with the backing of Toyota, and they started off so strong, and I was like, okay, we're here now. Esteban looked okay at the beginning, didn't look great. Ali looked phenomenal, which all we've heard, he jumped in Carlos's car that time he was sick and raced in that Ferrari, and Ali looked great. And you're like, okay, he can drive, and looked like he could drive. And then as upgrades come and the season has progressed, Haas hasn't.
They just haven't.
And it's sad to see as an American. You want to see the American teams do well, and we're looking at Haas and Cadillac, and I wouldn't be surprised if all these rumors of these Aston Martin cars, this upgrade package they're having. Hell, we might see Haas and Cadillac, the 2 American teams, the last 4 in the grid every week.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to see it, because what does the
Wouldn't be
future
great.
hold for Haas?
Yeah, it wouldn't be great. They like I said, they need to win. They not win, but they need to be competitive. It's better for the sport if there are more competitive teams.
Of course, absolutely. And they're just not there.
With a
So,
driver like
overperformer.
Ollie, you got to give him a car.
Yeah.
Ollie's a great driver. I'm not saying you're wasting a talent, but you're not giving him what he needs to do. What he needs to do.
Haas is a certified midfielder, man.
Right,
As soon as
right,
Ollie
right.
proves that he's good, he's going to go to a top 4. He's going to.
Yeah.
But that being said, who do you think is your overperformer this year?
Well, you kind of led into it. You kind of stole my thunder, but Sergio Perez.
Okay.
La 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 la.
The Minister of Defense.
The Minister of Defense. I love that name. But yeah, no, the man from Mexico, the former teammate of our boy Max Verstappen, coming out of the woodwork to come and help Cadillac, a new team.
Yes.
I mean,
And
let's
with
be
a
honest.
chip on
What a
his
name
shoulder.
to sign, yeah.
But did we really believe that bringing on Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas would equate to potential point scoring? No.
I wouldn't think so.
But-
That was your first year.
But dang, if Sergio doesn't score a point this year, I'll be shocked.
Yeah,
That dude is driving the wheels
He
off.
was this close in Monaco,
Yeah.
man. He was
Man,
5 seconds away.
I'm just like on the edge of my seat. Is he going to get points? Is he going to get points? I'm so excited. I hope he gets points. I don't care if the entire field has to DNF.
Well,
I want to see points.
at the end of the year, I mean, you say that, jokingly, but 1, 2, 3 points might be the difference in Cadillac and Audi.
That's true.
And that being said, we could be looking at, like you said, tens of millions of dollars. And that would be detrimental to Audi or Cadillac, depending on who doesn't win that money. Which, again, I say that. Both of them,
Yeah, I mean,
they're
being
new
new
and they're
teams.
fresh and they're ready to invest.
Yeah,
But like we've said before, I think Checo has proven that he's still here. He's still competitive. He's still ready to race. And who knows what silly season is going to hold, because he might be racing a car next year that is competitive and is ready to roll. And I wouldn't be surprised in 2 or 3 years Checo back on podium regularly. That just depends on what plays out contractually and what he can do and who he gets a ride with. But I will almost guarantee you that after the end of this year, he's not driving that Cadillac next year.
I rate that as a warm take. I think it's
warm take.
maybe a lukewarm
take.
Room temp.
Well, speaking of takes, let me ask you this, and this is kind of the last thing I want to touch on for this one is Fernando's comments. Before Barcelona, my last Grand Prix in Spain. How do you feel about that? Because he said a few weeks ago that he's going to stay racing until his son can sit in his car, who's less than a year old.
He's like a month old, dude.
Right.
He's a young one.
That is still less than a year.
Congrats to Fernando Alonso. First child, am I right?
Being a rookie, having his first kid.
Could you imagine his life as a rookie having a kid?
That's wild.
The rookie, yeah, that's right.
He's a rookie.
First year racing F1 and he's got a kid on the way.
Oh
rookie.
my God.
What a thing.
Yeah.
So for real though, it pains me to see the class of the sport go out on a bad note.
I mean, I feel like Aston Martin has wasted the last 3 years of his career so far.
Part of me hopes that they get it together just for Fernando's sake, because you really hate. He's been in the sport so long. He's been racing with these guys that have grandchildren now.
I think if I'm not mistaken, 06. Since 06, maybe not 01, maybe 06, I think.
And keep in mind too that this guy is a two-time world champion. Like, he is no slouch. He's got some of the craziest
I think his rookie year was 01, because I was reading something the other day that said he was only a few years away from 5 decades in the sport. Because if he had raced in 99, he'd been in the 90s. 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, and he's 3 or 4 years away from the 2030s.
Wow.
Like, he is close. So
wow.
But again, you talk about these Fernando Alonsos and these guys that have been around the sport so long. He's still only 2 years older than Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Right? And Lewis is still winning
seem
races.
That way.
Right?
Wow,
not when. Cut that one.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
What I'm saying, though, what I'm getting at is Lewis is still winning races. He's still on the podium.
That's right.
And then you got Fernando,
he's lucky if they bring the keys.
I mean, honestly,
should we get out the walker for Fernando?
I don't think it's
my
Fernando.
boy still got it.
I think before you bring a walker, you bring a tow truck for that Aston Martin. What is Fernando doing in a Ferrari next week? Right? Is he as competitive as Lewis Hamilton? Perhaps. But
maybe.
I don't know. He signed his life away to Lawrence Stroll years ago, and he's done nothing with it.
Well, it's not like he forgot how to drive the car. Like,
I just don't think the love that he had for the sport is there anymore because of how Aston Martin.
I think again, touching on what Lewis had last year, that disgruntledness and the fact that he was so upset with where he was, Luckily, Ferrari give Lewis a car this year that is competitive. Aston Martin didn't do that for Fernando.
Jordan,
they did. They were.
Jordan, but let's say, hypothetically speaking, that Aston Martin does make the changes. They do bring a new car. They do bring the new engine. Does that give Fernando enough desire, enough love, enough spark to actually come back and fight?
It could if you bring the fun back to it.
And that's another thing too. You've heard these rumors of Alpine and Flavio offering Fernando a 1-year deal next year. What do you think about that? Because
it's Fernando Alonso. Dude can drive a car. He just.
He has history with Flavio.
But Aston has hindered him tremendously of being the driver that he really is.
Well, I think it's
So-
very important what Cameron just said about this upgrade package Aston brings, because, in my opinion, moving to Alpine is a lateral move. It's not like you're getting offered that Red Bull seat somewhere where you're going to immediately be able to win again. Alpine has proven this year that they're good, but these new regulations, this new Aston Martin car, it can get better. Right. And it can get good enough to Alpine, whereas Alpine, I believe, is at the peak of where Alpine's going to be.
Yeah.
So do you go to a car that potentially can get you a consistently 7th, 8th place grid finish, or do you stick it out with Aston and all these upgrades? And we missed the mark last year. Aston Martin's facility is state of the art. It's brand new.
Absolutely
it's huge. If anybody's going to build a program to be a new Power 4, Aston Martin has the facility. They just don't seem to have the right people.
Yeah.
But if I'm Fernando, I think, me personally, I stay with Aston. What do you think, Cameron?
Yeah, no, I think it's probably the right call. I mean, if there's anyone that's going to spend money, you throw in enough money at a problem, eventually maybe it gets fixed. It's going to be Lawrence Stroll. Right. I mean, the guy literally, again, I keep saying this because I'm acting like you guys know all this stuff, but Lawrence Stroll literally bought the entire Aston Martin company, became the new president, CEO, owner of a massive luxury car company just to race F1 cars. Just
Stupid
to
money.
give his son a seat.
Stupid.
So if anyone's going to throw money at a problem, it's going to be Lawrence Stroll. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fix their problems.
Right.
But
I do want to say it is funny that you say that exact example, that Lawrence did all this for Lance a ride, and all we've talked about is Fernando Alonso. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Lance doesn't want to be there.
Lance, I think Lance does want to be there, but I think that
It's a funny way of showing it.
I think that he's. I mean, he's the most hated F1 driver on the grid, and in social media, you can be great.
Wrists.
You can be great, but
True.
man, it's gonna wear out. It's gonna wear you out. Everything's gonna take a toll on you, especially when you're the most hated driver on the grid.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, he just wants to look at his. I think he wants to open Instagram and see 0 notifications. I feel like that would be the greatest day of his life, because all 7,000 of them are negative.
That's right.
Like, the dude gets no love. He was in Canada at the Canadian Grand Prix, his whole race, and he had no fans. Man, that was.
Poor guy. They weren't even cheering for him at
that hurt.
hours
to
away
watch.
from where he lives.
That hurts to watch. That hurts to watch.
So Jordan,
What
does
does that tell you about
he
his likability?
That's it.
A lot.
Right.
Does he
George
stay
is
or-
way more likable than somebody. We
Does he
figured it
stay
out.
or stay,
or does he go?
From Aston?
from Aston?
I think if Daddy's still there, he's still there.
Oh yeah.
No,
If he
not-
wants to be
not
there.
Lance.
Right.
Not
Oh, Fernando?
Fernando.
No, man, I think Fernando. I don't think Aston makes any kind of headway in improving anything. I think Fernando is done.
So you think they make no progress?
I don't. I think they make a progress, but I don't think it's going to be enough to keep
They're
Fernando
not
around.
3 seconds off pace. They're 2 seconds off pace.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you to a point. I do think they make improvements. I have to take them at their word. They have enough money. They have enough resources. They've got Newey, who has all the experience with Red Bull. I do believe they make changes, but it's just not enough.
I don't think it's enough.
And if I take Fernando at his word, then he goes off in the sunset, probably retires. I hate it for him as an individual. I hate it for him as a 2-time world champion. It sucks, but I do see it happening.
Well, I think, to close, I think that this year, the end of this year, it's very important for Aston Martin to bring an upgraded package like they've said they will. You know, I think I read something earlier today that said that, you know, the upgrade so far, I think Ferrari has the most, Red Bull second, something like this. Mercedes has the second to least, which is like 12. But Aston Martin's brought 12 or six upgrades
Total.
all year, and we're at the 7th
Brought
race.
0 to Canada.
And their whole idea is that they're saving it. They're gonna come with a brand new car. When Honda drops their engine upgrades, they're going to, because they have, what, 2 or 3 engine upgrades? They're the worst engine on the grid. Honda's going to bring their upgrades paired with Aston Martin's, and it's going to be a brand new car. It's going to be a whole new situation. And for Aston Martin fans, you know, that has to happen, right? So I feel like at the end of this year, I don't think this is Fernando's last season. I don't think that Fernando hangs it up if Aston is terrible this year. I do think that he signs with Flavio and makes 1 year. But whose seat does he fill, Pierre or Colapinto? That's a whole different situation. But I do think that he tries to go somewhere else because he's wasted enough time at Aston. And I don't think that he wants to go out on this sort of a low. But that just depends on, again, like I've mentioned 100 times, silly season, what happens, what seats open, and this Aston Martin package. If Aston Martin puts a package together where Fernando Alonso finishes, I would say anywhere between 8th and 14th in the last 4 races, I do think that he sticks with Aston Martin. I think that he stays around and he's optimistic for next season. But at this pace right now, I mean, you're talking about racing Valtteri Bottas to see who can be the first one not a lap down, and it doesn't matter because they're both gonna garage it before the end of the race anyway. So.
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen, guys, and we do hope for the best for Fernando's sake, and I guess we can kind of say Lance as well. I mean, you don't want to see any driver.
You're saying that.
You don't want to see any driver absolutely poo-poo the bed all the time. It's just not great for the sport. But yeah, we'll wait and see. European stretch is here. We're ready for it. We've got 5 races in the next couple of weeks, and we're looking forward. What's that?
It's the next few weeks.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it, and we hope you're along with us to see how this all shakes out. We'll probably be talking about silly season here shortly, but we appreciate you guys. Formula Yap out.